the ACC had another bad tournament, and they
Yeah,
took a step in the right direction. They did get 8 teams in, which is an improvement because the last couple of years we had, I think, combined 9 teams of the previous 2 tournaments. So getting
yeah.
8 in is a
Hmm.
step forward. But not only do they only get Duke through, and Duke looked shaky as hell in the first two
Yeah.
games. So about the entire Siena game, about 3 quarters of the TCU game, you
Hmm.
have a couple of very big upsets with Carolina blowing the 19-point lead against VCU. You have Virginia, the 30-win team, going out to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
this is not. They had two first four teams lose in the first 4 games. Like not a good weekend for the ACC.
No, for sure. And like you said, better in terms of the amount of bids that they get. And the league definitely seemed like it was better top to bottom this year than it was certainly last year. But yeah, it's still when you end up with only Duke when Duke is your only representative in the Sweet 16, the Big East got 3 teams in and they sent 2 to the Sweet 16 outside of your 8, then you sent one. For a second straight year, though, it looks like Duke is just going to be the flag bearer in this conference that everyone else is kind of on the back of. A lot of disappointing results. Louisville was kind of shaky going into the tournament, so I don't know how much you can call them a disappointment. Their season as a whole, I think, is more of a disappointment. But like North Carolina had the Caleb Wilson injury, but still blows a big lead to VCU. Clemson coming up short. Miami had a good showing, of course, but like a lot of teams in the ACC kind of, just didn't show up in March. And like you said, their number one seed Duke didn't look all that great either. So yeah, a second straight year where there's a lot of questions about the ACC, and you wonder like, is this the future of this conference where it's just going to be Duke making the runs every year, and like, yeah, they get a couple other teams in, but no one really makes any noise besides them.
Yeah, and obviously I think you give Louisville a slight pass. They have Michael Brown either
For
game.
sure. Yeah.
I think it's a
Hmm.
problem here. And Miami played well against Purdue most of the way and just kind of
Yeah.
fell short at the end. But like some of these teams, like oof, boy. I mean, like Clemson and Iowa was a rock
Clemson.
fight, and Clemson looked like lost most of that game.
Yeah. Hmm.